What did that kid in your school get expelled for? Story 1. I was in 6th grade and the guy assaulted the principal. He smashed her head against the door until the glass smashed. She was in the hospital and later retired without coming back. The same year, another guy, his cousin or something, attacked 3 teachers and bullied one of my friends seriously hard. He was really short and my friend was really tall, like 6'7", and that was the only reason he would attack him. I don't mean some punching or stuff. He was either using a knife or hitting him with books. He even had a hammer and he ended up throwing a chair at him. My social studies teacher bull rushed him into the ground. The guy also stole from the current principal as well, and there were a lot of people who got suspended or expelled from my middle school. Story 2. There was a super senior at my high school. Each super indicates the extra year you stay at the high school. So this dude was already in his 6th year of high school, and I was a freshman when I met him. I was a junior at this time I'm referencing. He brings a shuriken during lunch and he demonstrates how he was learning to throw one. He throws it at a wall and it just bounces off and lands at a different lunch table. Fortunately, no one was harmed. Unfortunately for that dude, the people at the table got very upset and yelled loud enough to get the school security guards' attention. Yes, we had school security guards. The next week, I heard he got expelled. I'll see him again as a super senior during my senior year. The worst part is that I don't remember seeing him during graduation. Story 3. There was a kid named Marshall who was always getting in trouble, until one day they finally just kicked him out of school for spraying a fire extinguisher all over the room and somehow getting his own human poop in no fewer than 9 cubby holes where we kept our lunches. You have to be a goddamn rock star to get kicked out of kindergarten. I went to a school with a kid named Marshall too. He was a new student and came in 4th grade. One day, he refused to get on the school bus. He was standing in the front of the door holding his arms out so they couldn't put him on the bus. It took the principal, 2 teachers, and the bus driver to pry his hands off the bus. Story 4. A kid in my high school brought an airsoft gun in his truck on the day of the year that my school decided to go to an all-boys Catholic high school. One of the teachers was trying to become a deacon or something and had to videotape himself hosting a service. He taught religion, so he used a class period to take his students to a chapel and record his service. He had to go back to the classroom for something, and one of the kids got up and began desecrating everything. Mock drops of the candles, humping the crucifix, fake sermons, the whole 9 yards. The teacher returns to his seat before the teacher ever gets back, and all the students don't say anything. The camera was rolling the whole time, and then they performed a modified lockdown, which is really just a different way of saying, we're searching your stuff for drugs. So he gets called outside to unlock his car so that the police can further analyze this obviously fake see-through plastic toy gun, and what do? Payday, fellas. We got exactly what we were looking for, and the poor kid got expelled. I will never forget sitting in chemistry with the windows open at the front of the school when he drove by in his truck screaming, F the high school's name. His adopted mom was a 7th grade teacher. Doesn't really mean anything, but just an interesting bit of information. It's so dumb. The poor guy didn't even bring it inside, so who cares if it's on school property? I understand if it was black and had the orange tip removed, but nope, it didn't. Story 5. We were in the middle of class that took place on the 5th floor of our school, and there was this kid who in the middle of the class stands up and goes to the window, proceeds to open it, and jumps out. The entire class watched in horror, and the teacher stood there for a second in disbelief about what she had just witnessed. In reality, the kid jumped on the ledge under the window as some sick prank to make us think he just jumped. He got expelled the following week, and we had to listen to our counselor for a week about why this stuff isn't funny and why it is a bad prank. This was not the only reason he got expelled. This was just the final straw that forced the school to expel him. He was known for fooling around a lot and pranking the teachers all the time and doing dangerous stuff like starting a fire in the middle of the class. Story 6. He made an effort to get in shape. He joined the gym, a workout/weight training class that just happened to have a lot of football players in it. He was constantly bullied by a few, and even though the more respectable players stepped in at times, it wouldn't stop. After 2 swirlies in 2 days, he brought a knife to school. On the 3rd swirly, he pulled a knife and they stopped. Nobody got expelled and nothing happened to the bullies. Story 7. There was a kid in the school who was notorious for not showering. It was absolutely disgusting, but he didn't exactly have the best home life. So no one was really going to say anything until one day the kid sitting behind him decided to light the no-shower kid's hair on fire. It went up like a fireball, and the smell that ensued would make an onion cry. Needless to say, The kid with the lighter didn't make it through the rest of the day. Story 8. Instead of giving a presentation on the book he was assigned, he climbed up on a desk and started singing Kanye West's Gold Digger until the security guard pulled him off and out. And honestly, the teacher thought it was funny at first, but after the second time, it was just annoying and disruptive. Story 9. A student punched the teacher twice in the stomach when she was pregnant. Her husband even wanted to sue him, but I don't know too many details about it. I just know because my mom was in the PSA and she let it slip one time. He also stabbed another student in the back with scissors and was suspended for 20 days prior for that. Story 10. At my high school, it was identical twin brothers that got expelled earlier in the year. They somehow managed to steal the janitor's master key, make a copy, and put it back before the janitor noticed. About a month before graduation, on the night before senior prank day, they broke into the school. They went into the classrooms of all the teachers they hated. There were a lot of them, and they opened all the windows and spilled birdseed all over the room. As a bonus, they also released a greased-up baby pig in the school. When the school opened, the teachers and administrators were greeted with hundreds of pigeons flying around and a baby pig riding around the hallways. I used to get to school just as it opened, so I got to witness some of the carnage. It was hilarious watching the fat dean of students trying to catch a pig as pigeons were pooping all over the place. The twins were expelled that day and had to repeat their senior year at another school. I'm not sure how they were caught, but I heard that they were both called into the office and searched, and one of them had the master key in their pocket. Before this incident, they were both model students and they were honor students who had done a lot of charity work. They volunteered at all the school events and were never in trouble. I wonder what they're up to now. Story 11. This kid, Jasper, started in our school in September. Never did any work, never made any effort to do anything. He would constantly call the master's phone during lectures while the teacher was speaking. We weren't even supposed to have phones in school. Every year we have to do a public speaking assignment. He did zero preparation and walked up in front of the class with a paper plate and provided 45 seconds of a speech on paper plates. Speeches were supposed to be 5 minutes. He finally got expelled when he answered his phone in science class. Our teacher told him to leave the class. He was yelling at him and he was disrespectful. He answered his phone mid-talk with the professor, then he walked off to pick up weed. He was a crazy kid. Story 12. He got suspended from my high school a number of times for various things. But one time in junior high, in the middle of class, he stood up, put on a Cleveland Browns dog pound mask, and started barking like a dog and yelling, "Go Browns," and such. He walked himself down to the principal's office almost immediately afterward. He was arrested a few years ago for hacking into a police station in Utah somewhere, then bragging about it on Twitter and claiming to be anonymous. Story 13. I was at a prestigious boarding school in the Northwest, and a girl from there during our senior year was found to be a call girl. She'd service people in the Boston area several hours away. She was expelled after she was discovered. I remember all the dudes in my dorm gathering around a computer to see her photos on the site. Dorm parents and adults came in and found us all looking at it. Crazy.